It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 534. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hello.
Grace.
Hello.
Kodra.
So here I am, looking older all the time.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Hey there.
And I actually got Tam and Thalen in the correct order this week. It was because of the server admin thing last week that Tam was sorted at the bottom. Because when I said it, I knew that sounded wrong. I'm like, what? I'm a simple monkey and I follow the list. We have leftover topics from last week, some of which have rolled a couple weeks. Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
So disclosure, I'm plugging a buddy of mine's work, but the demo for Shinobi Art of Vengeance is out, and so I played it because I was like, I don't know, cool.
This is the Shinobi Metroidvania, isn't it?
Yes. It's really fun. It's got this cool comic booky art style. It reminds me of it's like a
Comic Zone is what it reminded me of.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a more modernized version of that, of Comic Zone, the old Genesis game. And it's got good movement, neat combat. It doesn't have quite the same really, really fine-tuned movement tricks that you see in something like Hollow Knight or Celeste, but it's got more deeper combat, kind of as a response to that, and it's really fun. I'm gonna pick it up when it comes out, but I played through the demo. It's your classic ninja has his clan obliterated, and now you go on a vengeance tour. Also, there's demons. Also, it's the cyberpunk future.
Which Shinobi always kind of had that element going on in it.
Yeah.
Now, Metroidvania, is it an open world style game?
I think it might get there. It's hard to tell from the demo.
I was about to say, because what I was thinking of is there is another game in which you are a ninja and you are unlocking progressively new ways to move through the world, but I wouldn't call Messenger a Metroidvania, mostly because it's it's pretty linear.
Yeah, and this is so the Metroidvania thing that it's definitely doing is you're going to move through a space and you're going to see stuff that you can't quite get to.
Okay.
And then you can find ways to you'll go forward and do some stuff and then be able to be oh, hey, no, I can go back and I've unlocked the technique that lets me get through this space, the grappling hook, or the there's a special thing that opens doors, or now you can break walls, or you've got to go in a bunch of cases, you've got to go in a variety of directions to find keys.
Okay.
But
so they're still backtracking.
Yeah, they're still it's even if the maps are levels, which is what it feels like in the demo, they're levels that have significant exploration in them. They have a lot of secret areas and secret bosses.
Yeah, it looked very Symphony of the Night in the way that the levels were laid out from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable, that feels reasonable. But what I played, the demo is you just download the demo. The demo is neat and left me with, yeah, I would play more of this. And then when I see all of the screenshots of other parts of the game, I'm okay, this looks awesome. Because the demo is very standard ninja dojo fare, and I could have a fun time with a game that's just doing that. But then the going through all of these cyberpunk spaces and weird machine rooms and so forth, that looks really fun. It's got a bunch of its visual style is really cool. You can like put together combos. So there's a little bit of like the combat system is it's like the midpoint between like Hollow Knight and a fighting game where you unlock combos that are like specifically move combos that do various things, and like you hit people enough and you build up a meter, you block or take damage enough and you build up a meter, and then you can use that meter to do a super move. They're very like ninja-y super moves. But yeah, I was having a ton of fun with it, and like might play through the demo a second time.
I think this is kind of a bit of a dated topic at this point, but there's been a GDQ, hasn't there?
A GDQ happened. Yes. Summer Games Done Quick occurred, and lots of good runs were had. I would, if you're like looking for recommendations of runs to see, as always, I recommend Shoujo, who is doing Sayonara World 2. Always fun because she has a very funny couch that is there to do good banter. It's a very fun thing to watch. One that I
Sayonara
really,
Wild Hearts.
This is a Mario ROM hack based off of Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Okay.
So yes, that is. So this is the second of these games because this is Sayonara Mario World 2.
Love it.
Listen, fan game creation is definitely going in places, and yeah, this is another hack by Margot, who is a frequent collaborator with Maddie, who is the creator of Celeste. The other one that I saw that seems to be a blast is they did a run of Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, and it's just a very raucous runner and couch who are there to have fun and kill fascists very, very fast.
So did they do any skips, or was it just burn through as fast as possible?
There's a surprising number of skips that they were pulling off. Like, the levels are very much kind of intended to be on rails, and there are a bunch of like, actually, you can like jump onto this moving gear and like skip half the level. So it's definitely worth seeing for weird skips. They do have a mod installed to try and speed through the dialogue as much as they could. There's also the other moment that I thought was very interesting, worth seeing, is in the Mario Relay, in which one runner one-shots a level blind, really cementing the fact that, yeah, Lil Curbs is probably one of the best Mario Maker players there is right now.
Oh,
That's an
you
incredible.
said someone had me wondering who, but then you said who, and now I'm not wondering anymore.
Yeah, like it was the team. It was a relay race. The team captains were Lil Curbs and the Beast, and those are probably the two best Mario Maker players there are. But yeah, as always, the games done quicks are always fun, and they always have a bunch of interesting new VODs that you can watch, and so I recommend checking them out.
The ending run this year was not Super Metroid.
Oh, what was it?
It was Deltarune.
Oh. Which chapters?
All 4 glitchless all bosses. So quite a bit of the game.
Yeah. I have not played through Deltarune. I need to do that.
What is Shadowfinder?
Okay, so Starfinder 2 is out.
Mm-hmm.
And in a very clever and frankly bonkers move, Paizo has decided to make the entire Starfinder game cross-compatible with Pathfinder 2, which, like, mechanically is not terribly unreasonable. Turns out Pathfinder 2 is a pretty good system, and so they just updated Starfinder that turns out people liked. The, like, decoy game that they made, it turns out that people actually liked a whole bunch. So they just updated it to use the rule set that they also like. But yeah, it's just like cross-compatible. Play a wizard in your sci-fi game, or a floaty brain thing in your fantasy game. It's fine.
And it is fine.
And like it is fine. Like it actually does work. And so, you know, I immediately, and like we've known this for like a couple of years now, and I've been sitting on, well, if I can blend, you know, sci-fi, like cyberpunky sci-fi with fantasy in a game system, I can do Shadowrun. And I can do Shadowrun in a game system that isn't actively trying to murder my player characters every 12 seconds.
And also is written a little better than the current edition of Shadowrun.
That is an
Yes.
issue with Shadowrun. Yeah, tends to be very deadly.
Yeah, like Shadowrun as a setting is unbelievably cool, but like actually playing it is a challenge. I was like, all right.
Our experience was like if you had a moderately like the constant thing is your characters were always so offensive that like they had no hope of surviving against somebody even remotely built out like that. Like you just couldn't build defensive enough.
I mean, I could take a single shot from my own character, but I was also the mechanically toughest character in our group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just it's just a really deadly game, and especially because so much of it wants to be about like the arc of your character and like the interesting decisions you make and how those come to affect you over time. It's kind of hard to get there if you just die every other run. Or on the DM side, I'm spending an inordinate amount of time trying to make encounters that feel meaningful without being horrifically deadly, which is very hard to do. So yes, Shadowrun in the blended up Starfinder 2, Pathfinder 2 system, which I'm having a lot of fun with, at least putting it together.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have been having some interesting character creation thoughts. And I think this is the most excited I've been about a character in a long time. So I'm looking forward to it.
I've been putting together a whole bunch of characters because I am also playing Starfinder Society. And like for this, I'm getting to play at a little bit higher level. So I'm getting to sort of look ahead and see what things are going to come. It is interesting to see how like the various classes balance out, especially at higher levels. There's definitely like a small concern that Envoy has a trailing off effect, but it's also very likely, and I don't know because I haven't played a high level Envoy, that eventually your directives just become so powerful that it doesn't matter that your personal skills fall off at higher levels. But I've been playing around with. There are 6 classes in Starfinder at release, and there are 2 playtest classes. I've been looking at the Envoy, which is the charismatic leader class. I've been looking at Soldier, which is the Constitution tough warrior who's really focused on like big guns that instead of like directly shooting enemies, you're putting down templates for. And then Mystic, which is ostensibly their cleric class, but it's so weird because the Mystic has a connection to like some force, and that impacts the way that they're the idea is that your Mystic has built a like network of people, and like you have a vitality network that you're using to like dole out healing to everyone, but like also you are literally like the network hub, and so like you have, when your group is together, they have telepathy with each other, and like your mind is like the server that everyone's mind is working off of.
So you're a Mentat.
Yes.
Sort of.
That or the Martian Manhunter.
But like the Mystic we're gonna have in this game is like connected to Shadow, and so whenever they use their healing to like heal somebody, that person becomes like cloaked in shadow for a turn and is like harder to hit and can like use that shadow to stealth. Whereas the other character I'm building for Starfinder is a rhythm mystic and basically gets to be a bard as well as a cleric, and it seems like a lot of fun. I am building a like very much built off of Hobie, the spider punk character who is like punk rock resistor, also rhythm mystic that does like big loud songs during battle and shoots electricity from their guitar.
Speaking of whom, side note, did you see he's getting his own movie?
Yes, I did.
He is. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Like, boy, did I love that character from Across the Spider-Verse, and boy, do I want to see more of him. He hates the AM, he hates the PM.
I hope it's animated in the particular art style that they chose for him during Spider-Verse.
Oh man, that'd be wild.
I feel like the entire movie but being like that might be a bit much, but action sequences at least.
Yeah, a little dizzying.
Yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't be able to see in color after I'd watch that movie, but it would be really cool. It's really interesting. I was chatting with this with Kodra the other day, but Starfinder has much more of a sense of humor that's like laced through a lot of what it's doing than Pathfinder does, which I think also lends itself to be a good setting for both Shadowrun and just it feels like it's where they're having more fun.
It kind of did before, like even the first edition books.
Yeah.
The first edition core book was like deadly serious, and the first thing they printed was the Alien Archive and had Skittermanders in it. And like the entire writing in that book was like, yep, all right.
Yeah, it feels like there's something about science fiction TTRPGs that they're just gonna go silly eventually. Even if they don't start out that way, they'll get there pretty quick.
Well, and like the storylines are able to be just really gonzo. Like the big thing going on in the Starfinder Society right now is everyone is reacting to the newborn, which is a new deity that has emerged from the broken shell of a planet that it was hatched out of. It's like this is a deity that is about like life and change and birth and also cosmic horror, because it's like weird eldritch entity that is a new god that like in Starfinder you're dealing with like the fledgling religious fanatics of it who are like, yes, we think more people should worship the newborn. I don't know about that, but I don't know, like
sounds a bit like the Maven.
One of the core deities in this world is literally two deities from the like Pathfinder world, like merged together. Zon Shilon, which is the deity of like art and beauty, and the deity of like death and mysteries. And so it's like this is the deity of finding beauty in suffering. There's just like the setting is very weird, and it's happy to be just very weird. But it feels more cohesive than the Pathfinder setting, which is just like a theme park of whatever genre you want. Like there's a nation for every genre. Do you want to tell steampunk? There's the steampunk nation. Do you want to tell undead stories? There's the undead nation. Do you want to tell stories with Baba Yaga? There's the Baba Yaga nation.
But also you have feats like, you can do it.
And a very important directive just called, get 'em!
Get 'em!
Yeah. Don't you die on me. Like, I don't know that anybody actually plays this character, but it is like an ongoing Shadowrun joke that you have the Shadowrunner that's like an influencer in the hey it's your boy vein, who's like live streaming your runs, and like that is definitely on brand
absolutely.
for Shadowrun, and also like mechanically supported here.
Well, it's funny because like one of the core iconic characters, so like you have every class has their own like pre-generated iconic character that usually are like the pre-gen characters at Starfinder Society events. is Day, who is literally like a influencer who is also definitely not Johnny Silverhand as a cat. He is the Solarian iconic, which means he attunes himself to stars and he like has photon whips and photon blasts. But like the iconic character is a cat with a golden prosthetic arm and like shades, and his backstory is wants to like dance on the battlefield as much as possible.
Meowny Golden Hand.
Yes.
First level healing spell, motivating ringtone.
Yes.
Cause somebody's phone to ring in their theme song.
As long as you can hear it, you get a buff. And if you're standing next to the person with it, you also get the buff.
I am diving into playtest because I am the sucker. I'm usually the sucker. And I'm trying to give the mechanic a shot. They left out the mechanic from... So Starfinder 1 had... I think it also had 6 classes, but it did not have the Witch Warper. It had the Technomancer instead. Maybe it had 7.
No,
because
I think
it also had
6.
It did also have the mechanic.
Did it have the mechanic at launch?
Yeah, the mechanic was in at launch.
I thought they only had 6, one for each stat attribute.
They did not divide them nearly that cleanly in Starfinder 1. You kidding? Like, they didn't really have full casters, so the Technomancer is not a full caster, and the Mystic wasn't a full caster.
They have decided that non-full casters was a mistake and have never done it in Starfinder or Pathfinder 2.
Nope.
If you are not a full spellcaster, you have focus spells.
Which works really well. So yeah, Mechanic was missing and Technomancer was missing, so they have both of them in playtest. Mechanic came back from playtest. They wrote some things about it saying it needs some touch-ups, but people seem to like it. There are some issues with dealing with flying enemies on some of the mechanic options. So we're going to look at what we can do about that. And the Technomancer came back with a needs significant changes, which looking at its action economy, that's probably true.
Yeah, like it's got some real cool like underlying ideas, but I don't know if they all click together. And yes, for me this is an opportunity to run a game that I've been wanting to run for quite some time. Actually, 2 games that I've been wanting to run for quite some time together. So this is going to be Shadowrun San Juan, where I basically get to drag my players into my childhood haunts and see how many times I get accused of retouching photographs. If you have never seen a phosphorescent bay and you just see pictures of it, it doesn't seem real. But yes, it's gonna be very fun for me to spend some time on the island, as it were.
I'm very excited. I'm playing an old character that I have played a number of times in the past. This is reprising him from a previous Shadowrun game. My character is very good at deception. And it turns out in Pathfinder, you can use deception to get yourself into a hidden state. So it's also useful for stealth.
Creative diversion has been there since the start.
Ranged creative diversion, I think, is that not new?
You could range creative diversion.
I think the problem with range creative diversion is that it only works like for your melee attacks or something. I don't remember. There's some issue with using it on a rogue.
Yeah.
That is mostly solved if you're just using it to actually sneak.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool to see all of these things come together. I've commissioned some art that I'm very excited about. It'll be I'm hoping it's gonna be a blast.
What is Draw Steel?
Draw Steel is an RPG from Matt Colville, I believe, who has a notable YouTube channel, made a bunch of D&D GMing advice for years. And I think a few years ago decided to use that experience writing additional material for D&D to write a whole new system that is entirely focused about the idea of being heroic. There's a bunch of mechanical changes to accomplish this. Its primary dice mechanic is 2d10, where the thresholds are always the same. It is 11 or lower, 12 to 16, and 17 and higher for levels 1, 2, 3 of success. And a lot of things you just can't miss. You can still fail on skill rolls, but you can't miss in combat. You just do less damage if you get the lowest threshold. But it's worth noting that because the average is on 2d10 is 11, as soon as you have any bonus at all, your average is in the second category. So they think missing is bad and would like you to not miss. They think spell slots are bad. And so every class has its own unique resource mechanic that builds during combat. Like one of their examples given is like there's a class called a Fury, and I don't even remember what it's called. It's not actually called, the resource is not also called Fury, but I can't get that out of my head. That builds on taking damage or several other things. You get some per turn, but you can get more by fulfilling a class-specific action. So they want to make combat more cinematic. It's not just burn all your spell slots at the start of the day. And they want to make movement in combat more important. So many classes have abilities that force movement or
I don't know how this
interact with force movement.
I don't know how this slipped under my radar because this is like catnip for me.
I know. I was amazed I didn't find out about it from you.
I'm amazed I didn't find out about it from me.
I do not have the real book. I picked up the starter adventure to take a look at it, and I find things really interesting. And I'm interested in giving this a shot at some point, but it's behind many other things at this point. So it's really just a system that I am taking note of, saying, this looks really, really cool. Other people who think this is interesting should check it out.
Success. I'm checking it out.
I'm always curious what make movement more important means functionally.
So even in Pathfinder 2, things will frequently boil down to stand in front of an enemy and try to hit them as much as you can.
Yep.
So there need to be tactical reasons to exist to not do that.
Yes. I just am curious how you make that happen, right?
Forced movement.
I mean, sticking forced movement on abilities is a way to do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And even in the Lancer campaign I'm currently running, one character has knockback, but everyone involved has some desire to see like this berserker is going to hit them when they murder it. So they would like to do something about not having it next to them, incentivizing them to, maybe consider ramming it, maybe consider teleporting out of the way first. Even things like that encourage you to not just stand in front of enemies and slog.
True.
Yeah,
Although Lancer has the challenge of there's still opportunity attacks, so you have to figure out how you get away.
My hot take is I think opportunity attacks are bad.
I think opportunity attacks help melee characters feel dramatically more valuable, so I don't agree that they're bad, but yes.
I think that there are ways that you can do that aren't opportunity attacks. That's really where I land.
I mean, that is a thing in Pathfinder. General lack of opportunity attacks means that you can just move around if you want to.
And they made melee characters feel valuable by making melee characters really good.
And also giving some of them opportunity attacks.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those, like, I think that they're fine sometimes. Like, they're a sometimes food. There's definitely places where I'm like, oh yeah, actually it's really good to have this as a mechanic. But like everyone has them all the time and they're devastating. Like just everybody walks to the middle and fights. But yes, I'm really interested in reading through this.
So Last Epoch has a season coming up next week, I think on the 21st, and dropped full patch notes on Friday. And there's a bunch of interesting stuff going on.
There's so much good stuff in there. I cannot wait.
Really, it feels like they may have fixed the two issues that I had with Necromancer. Namely, that Necromancers have negative amounts of survival. And also, you kind of have to get hit to wake your minions up to get them to attack anything.
Oh.
Since minions were always on defensive, essentially. But now, minions have stances, and you can just put them on aggressive, which means they will run out in front of you.
I think I didn't realize this problem on most of my minion builds have been Primalist builds. And Primalists are all usually in the fray anyway.
Right, you're jumping into combat anyway, but like it's definitely a thing.
And I feel like I didn't notice this as much because one of the things I love about Last Epoch is that you can direct your minions.
Yeah.
And so I was just constantly micromanaging them, so it wasn't as much of a deal, but it would be nice not to have to micromanage them.
Yeah. I mean, in by summonings, the not SRS characters on top of things, I was essentially triggering them to attack things as well. But it's going to be interesting. And also there's a lot more survivability in the Necromancer traits. There's a lot of threshold nodes now in the Necromancer tree, which those are a lot of what really made Sentinel shine last patch was they got them for the first time.
Sentinel's good. Sentinel's real good.
Sentinel, even after nerfs, are probably going to be really good.
Wow, this is a huge number of notes for
Yes. Yes. Basically, this is the minions patch. It fixes a lot of stuff with Primalist, and it fixes a lot of stuff with minions, and also completely redoes Lich.
Yeah, I'm torn because I like Acolyte and I love minion builds, but also I kind of want to play with the new Lich stuff, so I don't know what I'm going to do to start this season.
So the idea of Lich interests me, but Death Seal has always felt like it's a really dumb mechanic I don't want to engage with.
That's
yeah.
fair.
I do kind of want to play the not Flicker Strike character. I mean, it's a bad ideas ability, but I think it's Flay is what they're calling it.
There's a lot of nice quality of life stuff coming too. I was noticing some minor annoyances about grouping up to do some of the early monoliths where not everybody always gets credit and you have to do things twice. Most of that has been cleaned up, which is really nice.
Well, and they even gave some quality of life for the trade faction too, to where you can get items that will drop that essentially allow you to ignore your faction requirements for buying stuff. It doesn't let you sell at higher requirements than what you've currently unlocked for trade faction, but it allows you to buy gear. So you can buy 4 LP gear before you've ground out all of the ranks if you get one of these little tokens. I still feel like Circle of Fortune is the correct way to play this game, but
absolutely.
And I also feel like grinding or EHG feels that that's the correct answer too.
I mean, it's also just kind of telling that they had to make all of these adjustments to the Merchants Guild to make things feel better, and there's okay, Circle of Fortune's fine.
I mean, did you see the little tweak that now once you join Circle of Fortune, you'll actually be able to buy a bounty or whatever?
Yeah.
That was always the annoying thing, is that you had to go there and then go away and grind for a bit, and then come back so that you could buy your things so you could complete that quest.
If that's the big thing that they're changing, I think Circle of Fortune is in a pretty good place.
Yeah. Look, I like my screen-wide loot explosions.
Mm-hmm. That's why I play these games. I think that the new season mechanic is going to be interesting, and I appreciate looking through some of the notes that they've already made it play nicely with the mechanic from the current season.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff is carrying forward, and it's going to continue and interact in interesting ways.
I mean, this is why Path of Exile has 11 million D systems, is because they've just been building them up over time.
Well, that's really what Last Epoch needs, is just more systems.
Yeah, I mean, it's healthy. At some point, if you have 1 million systems and they all interact with each other, it will become problematic. But right now, it's needed.
Well, this kind of has a Metamorph meets Einhar vibe, which I dig, because I actually liked Metamorph. I engaged with it a lot. I was sad when it was taken out.
It's the same way. actually weirdly enjoyed that. And I mean, this is full of dinosaurs that you get to mutate. Who doesn't love that?
Also, we're going to get a chapter 10
Yep.
I know.
or 9, whatever it is.
I have been waiting to go do meaningful things in the ancient lands forever, because like there's some of my favorite areas that like when you time warp into them, but like yeah, this entire chapter is set in ancient times, you know. So you see the giant like chains in the sky.
You actually get to run up there.
Also, like, there's going to be a build where you get to have T-Rex as a companion.
That's just an item.
Yeah, like it just changes your raptors to T-Rexes, I think.
I think it's, I don't know.
Or
if
is it
it's
a whole
specific
new?
to that. I think it's a new thing. I didn't look closely at the tooltip, but I think it's its own thing.
Okay, I thought it was just a primalist thing that mutated, and I know there's one that makes like raptors into fire-breathing dragons, which seems cool.
Yeah, I think that's a skill option.
Wait, what?
Pretty sure that I'm pretty sure I saw that was like just an adjustment to the skill tree. I have to go back digging through. There are so many notes.
Yeah, I kind of just skimmed it the other day when they came out. I figured, like, I already knew I was going to play a Necromancer, so I was mostly focused on the Necromancer stuff.
Next year, realized Final Notes came out.
Yeah, it was on Friday. Judd did a summary video, and then they also just dropped full patch notes.
Hype Week did its job because I am definitely hype.
And also, we have Toucan and Backsloth and Floating Kitty.
I'm pretty happy with most of the cosmetics that they had for this season. There's some cool dash animation things, and I do love the Backsloth.
Yeah, this is going to be the first thing that gets me to stop using the backpack that they gave us for being an early adopter.
I have to figure out if anything will get me to move away from my Abyssal cosmetic set, though. It's a problem when there's something that's so on brand for me that comes out so early, is that all of the following cosmetic sets are slightly less appealing. But also, I'm going to buy all the cosmetic stuff because EHG is great and I want them to succeed.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be, as much fun as the new Lich looks, I think I am going to go back and play my Marksman explosive trap build again.
I'm going to decide to play something other than Werebear and actually stick to it.
Yeah, and I'm going to try really hard not to play Warpath, because that has been the thing that I've played over and over and over and over.
If you want a Warpath alternative, you considered Werebear.
And Maelstrom?
Yes. Not Maelstrom. Maelstrom is kind of bad. Like, Maelstrom is in that build, but it's not a source of damage. It's really just the Rampage itself does damage.
Yeah, I want to do Necro because like it's a build that I really like already, and it seems like Zoomancer type Necro is going to be very good.
Yeah, although the Abomination changes look pretty cool if you just want to have one gigantic summon.
That looks tempting to me because I always love builds like that, and they tend to be bad.
Well, but it also interacts with some of the other things that like give you multiple golems and things like that, because its stats are based on what you fed it.
Yeah.
So you can still build into all those different minions and then just eat them all into one Abomination.
Yep.
I don't know. Like it depends. That's the thing, is like, so if I go down the Acolyte path, I can pivot into Lich if I decide I want to try that, or, you know, play a non-Zoomancer build eventually, but like Zoomancer will be very good for leveling purposes.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to resist the call of minions, but I might swap over to Lich if I get into the end game and just want to mess with something different.
I never did get very far with the Beastmaster, so that might be what I do instead of Druid. Although the Ripped Blood changes do look like fun.
It's at least good now.
Previously, it was just a thing you attached effects to.
Right, exactly. Like, you used it to do other things.
And this tree is so different, I can't really even parse it in text. I'm going to have to just see what it looks like as a tree.
Right, yeah. I will make my decisions as I'm speccing through. I mean, I think a couple of the builders are updated, but I don't know that I care enough to try and pre-build my way into this. I'll just wing it.
I don't,
It's easy enough to fix it.
And it's fun enough to wing it.
Yep.
Like, I'm pretty sure I can get through the campaign as anything. PoE 2 has started its spoiler season, which is now slotted to like launch a week after, or like 8 days after Last Epoch. And like initially it looks like they're adding Abyss or some version of Abyss, and at least one more act. But there's also rumors that like it's going to be all the rest of the campaign. So who knows?
That's neat.
Yeah,
I'm going to be really hard pressed to care.
I'm not following it super hard, but like I am keeping an eye on it. It will definitely be something I probably play with, but like after the Last Epoch season has run its course.
It's like, are they pressing a button that makes the game fun?
I don't know. Like I don't know. That's the problem. Is like there's just too many issues that I have with the direction that game was going. That like I don't know. I don't know that it's going to turn around to be the game that I want it to be.
Like that's really my thing. Is like that game needs to have somebody come in and press a bunch of buttons that makes the game fun for me.
Yeah. And it's been kind of sad reading like comment threads on YouTube videos about things, and a lot of them are just like PoE 2 bad. So like it shift from D4 bad to PoE 2 bad. Or actually they're calling it PoE 2 out of 10.
I mean,
oof. On one hand, I don't know if I got 2 points of enjoyment out of it. On the other hand, do we really have to do this every time?
Yeah. Like, I mean, once I got used to it, and once I found a build that I liked, I will say I like Titan Quest 2 better than I like PoE 2.
Titan Quest has a slow start, which is fitting for the game it's a sequel to. But yeah.
Well, and Titan Quest has some problems where there is synergies there. They're just hard to find initially. But like, I think the biggest problem that I have with PoE 2 that's like probably not the biggest, but one of the problems that I have is that things feel very locked down to specific weapons, where like if you're going to use this weapon, you're going to use these abilities with it. And that feels very antithetical to like Path of Exile in general, where you can kind of use any ability with anything.
I don't know. Like maybe I'm just a simple game playing person, but the game just like feels like a slog, and I don't think making builds more complex to find like to expose other overpowered non-intuitive things is necessarily the best way to do that.
So it feels weird because it feels like they tried to make things less complex by limiting abilities per weapon.
Yeah, everything's way too hard now.
Yes.
Well, and it feels like there's only ever like one or two things that really work at any given time.
And if something works too well, they nerf it because they don't want anything to work that well. They don't want you to ever feel that powerful in their game.
Well, they do. They don't want scrubs feeling that powerful in their game. You gotta earn it.
I mean, the thing is, like, even watching people who put in the time, like, and get the really busted builds, the reaction is, okay, we need to nerf those builds so that it's not, like, these people aren't breezing through this stuff as much. Because, like, really what's happening is those people are sort of acting as pathfinders, finding builds that then the scrubs can play, and then they nerf the builds so that the scrubs can't have access to them.
I mean, and also the end game gameplay loop isn't that fun. Like, I really think the Atlas and Scarabs and maps and all of that is a really compelling end game, but having delve style mapping just isn't, and towers still haven't felt like a thing that anyone actually wants to do. So, like, there's just a bunch of problems with the current state of that game's design.
It is funny because you are like Mr. Delve aficionado.
It works for something like Delve. It doesn't work as a replacement for maps. Like, I love Delve, but it's doing something different than maps are.
Yeah, I can see that. Delve exists in a parallel space, and it's important that it exists in a parallel space.
Right. And that's the other thing that PoE 2 right now is lacking is one of the
alternate options.
Yeah, one of the things that makes PoE 1 so good is if you love Blight, you can hyper specialize in Blight and just do Blight and produce things for a trade economy that are needed by players who don't want to do Blight. So you can basically get the things from other people by hyper specializing on the one thing that you want. Whereas nothing like that really exists in PoE 2, that you basically mapping and juicing maps is the only thing that exists. So if you're not playing the most broken ass build that is juicing the hardest and farming the most divines per hour, you are only falling behind in what you can do. There's no, like, Delve is a thing that I've latched onto because I enjoy it, and it also produces a resource that people need that I can then trade for resources that I don't want to go do. And nothing like that really exists right now, in that it's just like there's no thing that you can really do other than map juicing. And I get that's a thing that probably will change over time, but also the way that they've implemented Breach and the other league mechanics really so far only serves to do further map juicing. So I don't know.
I mean, it is definitely not helpful that the mechanics that they most push you to are the most polarizing mechanics that they've ever introduced in PoE 1.
Replacing the Labyrinth with basically Sanctum is definitely a choice.
Well,
supposedly
it doesn't have to be Sanctum. You could instead decide to do Ultimatum,
which is just as disliked. Supposedly,
Sanctum.
Supposedly, the third trial is Trial of the Ancestors.
Oh my gosh!
That's going in this
really
time.
Just hate. They hate us.
Yeah, like
that's so funny.
These are three of the most niche, not super loved mechanics that they've had.
So to back up a bit, I get that they understand. So the point of the Labyrinth in PoE 1, the entire point, is so that it's difficult for bots to farm things. Bots basically can't clear the Labyrinth. And they wanted something like that for PoE 2. And I guess they didn't just want to do the Labyrinth again for some reason. I don't know why.
Wow, if that's the justification for the Labyrinth existing in PoE 1 and then PoE 2, they should have just done the Labyrinth again.
Yes, they should have. Like, I have a whole new respect
bots
for
sure
Azara.
can't clear Sanctum or Ultimatum either, but
it's true, but like, can I just
neither
hit
can
a
players.
CAPTCHA? Yeah, can I just hit a CAPTCHA? Like, come on.
I mean, can I show my face via a mobile app to prove that I'm a human so that I don't have to deal with either of these? Like, I'll do it, I guess. I don't want to do it for, like, access to YouTube, but, like, I mean, I'll do it for access to not have to do the ascendancies.
Like, I mean, this is the thing is like, for as much as, if that is the requirement, for as much as people don't like Labyrinth, I actually think Labyrinth is really fun, much more fun than any of the options available to you.
I didn't love Labyrinth.
In PoE, like you can specialize in it.
I didn't love Labyrinth, but like I have a whole new respect for Zaro. Post PoE 2. Like he and I are best friends now.
Oh my goodness. This is very funny because like I didn't even hate Trial of the Ancients, but I also didn't do it enough to the point where it basically became unplayable.
Yeah, I mean, I farmed quite a bit of it and I had fun, and I wasn't doing some stupid broken method to farm it.
But the people who are actually playing it seriously were like on truly ridiculous builds.
Oh,
and you
no,
had to be.
They were breaking it apart. Like it was, they were doing the stupidest mechanics ever to get through it. And it's the same thing with Sanctum runners. Like serious Sanctum runners are just doing stupid things.
Yeah, I found Sanctum to be fine because I had a build that was okay at it. And I need to stress, like, my build was probably one of the most mainstream builds, was probably the best build that is both mainstream and good at Sanctum. I should say, everything here is past tense. My build is so dead. I'm not allowed to have fun in these games.
The problem that I have with Sanctum and Ultimatum both is they just take so long to finish.
Well, they take a long time to finish, and if you fail, then it's
you
so
wasted
miserable.
your time.
You wasted all of your time.
Whereas, like, even in the worst case scenario with Lab, you're talking at most 20 minutes. At most.
Yeah, it can take you a little longer than that with the final labs, but yeah.
And I should say, I also don't think that's a great mechanic for Lab either. That it's a one-shot kill.
Right.
Because that also, like, boy, is that a great checkout moment. I'm sure there are a lot of characters who are logged out at the entrance to Labyrinth. I do find the concept, incidentally, of the logout spot to be very funny because it is a good reminder of, oh, that's why I quit playing this game.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't reset in PoE 2 the way that it does in PoE 1. Because like in PoE 1, you're always either in the Karui Shores or whatever act town you last logged out in. But in PoE 2, you're just literally wherever you logged out.
Reminds like logging back into Guild Wars 2 right at the exit of Ascalonian Catacombs.
Yup. Man, why did we not play this game? Looks at Ascalonian Catacombs. Oh, right. That's why we stopped playing this game.
That's barely even a thing anymore.
Now I remember.
Aside from all the dungeons getting rebalanced. Also, there's much less emphasis on actually doing them. And fractals exist.
Yay.
I mean, in other ARPG news, the franchise lead for Diablo quit, and it seems like they're trying to turn that game around. They still have powers. They called it something differently this time to try and sneakily get past us, but they're still powers. They call them traits now instead of powers, but
the players will never figure it out.
They've got an
what color is it this league?
I have no idea. Like it's not until mid-September, end of September, so I don't know, but they did announce like that there's going to be the ability to get unique items for slots that normally wouldn't have that item, to mess with builds, so that like if something normally would be in a head slot, you can, sometimes get it in like a boot slot or something like that to change up some of the builds. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see if that works. I didn't even know that there was a season coming up recently until I don't know. I think maybe Elian said something about it. I don't remember.
Yeah, I've been pretty checked out of D4 unless Frosty LaRue puts out a video.
All you D4 super fans.
I feel like it's a game that could be interesting.
I am interested to see, like, supposedly they've shared like a roadmap with content creators, but that has not been shared with the public, of like, these are all the things that they're working on to turn the ship around. I think the problem with Blizzard is they've got so much stuff in the pipeline and they don't ever turn on a dime, which is why it has taken WoW forever to start to turn around as it has, like, over the last 2 expansions, because they had all of the expansions already spec'd out and they just stuck to the plan. And it kind of seems like that's been happening with Diablo as well, that they had pre-planned all this stuff out and they're just following it, and now they're actually making changes. So I don't know.
I don't love that there's a roadmap that they're willing to share, but only with the influencers.
Yeah, I don't love that either. I mean, numbers have dropped pretty much every season, so they got to do something. So I know we've talked about Burrows and Badgers before, a long time ago.
Sorry, I mentally parsed that as Bros and Badgers.
Burrows. Look, I do not enunciate terribly well sometimes. I have no idea whose topic this is, though.
I think this is a damn topic.
I think this is a TAM topic.
Yeah, we actually, I actually finally got some Burrows and Badgers games in and like built lists as opposed to just reading the rulebook and messing around with it. This is a fun, cute little minis game, and it's really interesting to see. I've been trying to find something. I've been trying to think of something to compare it with, and all of the main thing that I can think to compare it with is not the example I want to use, because it's Necromunda. But Necromunda is not the right example, because Necromunda has some like fundamentally different design philosophies. Like Necromunda cares who wins. Burrows and Badgers does not. It wants you to have experiences, and like it's really really interesting to see this approach to a minis game, because so many of them are tuned to be like competitive and, you know, clear winner and loser, and like as a result they often struggle with campaigns because it's got some real problematic snowball effects. I think it's really interesting actually playing it and being like, okay, so it's not like nothing happened in, you know, the you know, we played one of the rounds. It's not like nothing happened, but there isn't a clear this person is ahead of this other person. And I think there's a surprisingly tight balance in like how that comes together, and how you can have stuff happen that makes your missions not feel like they were pointless or boring, but still have people emerge from them on roughly even footing. It's just it's a totally different approach to a minis game, and I think it's really really neat. Also, it really doesn't care how much you are trying to optimize, because it's got some really interesting mechanics for if you decide to run all mice. Like bigger beasts have better stats and they cost more, but a mouse is always relevant, and I think that's really neat to see.
So does it use kind of a point scale composition type thing?
Yeah, everything is pennies. You get some number of you get 350 pennies to put together a list, and you can spend that however you like. And they have a bunch of actually fairly good recommendations in the book for like roughly how many models you should start with. They have the only requirement for a list is you have to select an allegiance, which may have some additional like list construction rules. Only a few of them do, and every beast in your list has to have every beast in your warband has to have either a spell or a piece of gear. gear costs money, spells don't, but every spell you take at creation gives you a downside, like a statistical downside. You are less strong and deal less damage, or you're less strong, so you deal less damage and you take more damage. So you're just naturally more fragile as a spellcaster, but also you have magic. And there's enough like pushing and forced movement and movement tricks that you get some really interesting interesting space in the game. Somebody I was watching play they were just like, I only like birds. My whole list is birds. That's all I'm doing, birds. And they had mostly middling stats as birds, but like they they weren't necessarily fast, but they could fly. And so they had like a bunch of really helpful movement stuff that was neat, but also not like, it wasn't super busted, and they lamented not having something huge like a badger or something that could hide like a mouse, because birds are kind of bad at hiding. But super cute game. It's a lot of fun it was a lot of fun like actually sitting down and putting together lists and like seeing what that looks like. They definitely have different tiers of difficulty as far as your allegiances go. There are some that are easier to build warbands for than others, given some of the restrictions that you have. You know, the wildlings can't wear heavy armor or very heavy armor. Or the Arcane Council, every character must be a spellcaster, which is like, sure, you've got tons of spells, but a little squishy. But yes, that's been my thing I've been messing around with recently. Made and painted a handful of warbands. My chosen one is a bunch of foxes currently, including my incredibly bad ideas leader fox. This is so when you take a spell, you get basically weak and fragile. So you take that weak is for every level of weak, you deal 1 less damage, and for every level of fragile, you take 1 more damage. But firearms don't take into account weak or strong. So I have my leader fox has a teleport spell and a pair of pistols. So just going to teleport in, try to blow somebody up, and hope that works. And sometimes this goes great. Other times it goes badly. But yeah, it's a super charming game, and I've seen all kinds of interesting. People have come up with all kinds of interesting ways to play it, or like other things they want to add. Like basically, as long as you're okay using an existing beast's stats, and stats are like beast stats are really just a collection of stat points, then like you can plug anything into it, and scale in the game is also sort of whatever. So I've been seeing people that are like, I found a really cool giraffe mini. I'm just going to play this giraffe as a massive beast. And it works fine. I don't remember like which beast type they're using, but just like whatever, this is a giraffe now. The mole sniper is a particularly sad character, however.
Oh, can't see.
Yeah, moles can't see. And they gave this mole a sniper rifle. Mole's like, why have you done this?
For the lols.
Yeah. You can have all kinds of just very funny mixes of things. And the thing that I think is really clever that they do is anytime one of your like warband members would die or take a significant injury, you put money into, you basically get money, which they call a pension, but is basically like, this is your catch-up mechanic. Like, wow, you got diced real hard in that game. Here's a bunch of catch-up mechanics so that you don't just like fall behind.
So there's like a campaign building type mechanic?
Like the game actually really wants to be played as a campaign, like with characters leveling up and buying new gear and so on and so forth.
Is it less fiddly about this than actual Necromunda?
Oh, they're wildly less fiddly about this. Like it's much simpler, and I think much more functional as a result.
Well, and the problem with Necromunda was always that, like, once a campaign started, it was real hard to bring new people in.
I feel like even just getting like a coherent storyline out of a campaign of Necromunda is also a little difficult.
Yeah, and this one definitely has like story engine things going on. Like for example, one of my foxes got one of my like melee. I had a fox that I had set up as like a kind of hybrid skirmisher, just because I had extra bits available, and so I had a sword, had a bow. I don't really know what I need this person to do or what this fox is going to do, but like he could fill in whatever spot. And like got a nasty leg injury. Isn't that mobile anymore? Still good at shooting, but not super mobile. So I bought him a gun. Now he's a sniper fox. And like it's like a character evolution that feels kind of cool. Like it's like no, it's not like, oh, this character is just bad now. It's like, oh, this character has a new role, and that's neat.
So, like, is a sniper that if somebody gets base to base with still is kind of functional?
Yeah, like it's a sniper, but if somebody gets close, like it's not gonna mess around. He's still got a sword. Like different beasts have different personalities. I was really unprepared for like sneaky mice, just like not being able to actually find. They have the stealth rules are actually pretty functional, and the sneaky mice were very much making up for their stats. They're like relatively poor stats compared to my foxes with just constant sneak attacks. But then one of my foxes is a fennec fox, and that fennec fox is really, really good at finding hidden things. And as soon as the fennec fox got like in range, it was suddenly bad times for mice. And it was just a neat like arc of things going. I can sort of imagine, I sort of imagine the whole thing as a, Rats of Nim cartoon style thing, and like, oh, all the mice are like laughing at the foxes as they pelt them with arrows, but then like the one fox that just knows where they are shows up, and that's terrifying. But yeah, super cute. Had a lot of fun with it. I like seeing the design ethos in different games, and like the kinds of experiences they're trying to craft. And like Burrows and Badgers just wants like everybody to be having fun and having a cool story as much as possible. I think that the end of the game, like I won, and I think I got like 16 pennies for a win, and the other person got 14. Like whatever, they got more XP than me because they were like accomplishing your allegiance has, you get bonus XP if you do this thing in a mission. So there's like some interesting objective asymmetry going on.
So a difference, but not enough to snowball necessarily.
Yeah, like it's such a small difference that it's not really going to end up. It's not like, oh, it's not like this person's like, oh, after one round I feel like I'm behind. It's like, oh no, we're still on pretty even footing. It's not like, oh, I just completely shut you out of this campaign. But yeah, I was having a lot of fun. Plus it's a nice break from the Warhammer and Cyberpunk minis that I'm painting to paint like Pigeon Union boss or a snake in a waistcoat.
There's also definitely no sort of custom minis for things like this.
Oh my god.
This does also apply to Jura.
It is amazing. Yeah, I mean, like if I ever end up playing Jura, I'll have a selection of minis to use immediately.
So I think we had a few quick topics.
Yeah, I wanted to note that both Dwarven Realms and Soulstone Survivors have updates this week. Dwarven Realms is a new season. They've added some new stuff, some new versions of bosses and things. I just started playing this morning, so I haven't gotten far enough to see any of the new stuff, but it's always fun to hop in a new season over there, and I expect it's going to be a nice way for me to kill a week until Last Epoch launches. So that's been pretty good. And then Soulstone Survivors, its new patch has yet another new playable character, which I have
Ooh.
not unlocked yet because I'm pretty sure it requires fully fleshing out the skill tree of every other character.
Okay.
And I'm further
That's a
along on this
task.
task than anyone ought to be, but I am not there yet.
That's a large ask.
But it seems like a pretty cool character, and I want to mess around with it. It is the blacksmith.
That suddenly makes sense.
Hmm so that looks like fun. They also they have this Titan hunt mechanic now, and they added a new Titan. It comes with a new zone, so just adding more variety to that game mode, which is really fun. I've been really happy with the whole Titan hunt thing. It makes the game more playable for longer rather than just having the individual levels that you can ramp up the difficulty of and play indefinitely. You sort of have an actual objective. You fight 4 maps, then fight a special map and boss, and then fight sort of the end boss of the game. So it's a little bit more tiered and a little more entertaining, but it is long. The runs can take a little bit of time, but it's been fun. New stuff to poke around at. I definitely recommend taking a look if you already have the game, and if you don't already have the game, it's pretty cheap and they keep adding tons of content to it, so it's worth a look.
On the book front, I have fallen back into the world of the craft and Tara Abernathy in Max Gladstone's series of books. So there's basically 6 that make up the craft sequence, and I'm working through the trilogy that takes place past after those first 6 books. And the second sequence is really freaking good. So if you like urban fantasy and interesting takes on magic, I highly suggest this series of books. Max Gladstone's also one of the people behind This Is How You Win or Lose the Time War.
That was a really good book.
Yep.
This is a very different type of book, but it's very good. It's got great characters. Then I also saw Weapons. I highly suggest that you go into that not knowing anything about it. If you watch that film, it's not necessarily M. Night Shyamalan territory, but there's definitely, it's beneficial to go in without knowing anything about it. But that also prompted me to go back and watch Zach Cregger's previous film, Barbarian, and it was also really good. And I had no clue that it was the Zach Cregger from Whitest Kid You Know, which was a short-lived comedy sketch group. Highly suggest both of those movies, though. Any other short topics?
There was a video from the Vans Warped Tour that I recommend checking out of Tony Hawk singing Superman with Goldfinger.
Okay, that's great.
Which is a very appropriate song for Tony Hawk.
It's weird that that's become the most iconic song from those soundtracks.
It was the best. So good. It was such a good song. But also it is very appropriate as it is, about somebody who is struggling with aging and wanting to continue their legacy of being cool when they were younger. And Tony Hawk he's fighting the fight, man. He's growing older all the time, feeling younger in his mind.
Yep. I feel that, though. I'm a year away from 50. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.